Hi everyone, it's Kate from the Fold Line. I am back this week with a new video for you all. This week we're doing the Sew Down, which is our monthly roundup of stuff we've seen, listened to, read over the last month and think that you guys would find interesting or want to get involved in. Yes, so I haven't done a video for a couple of weeks actually because I have been on holiday. Obviously you can tell, look at this tan. I mean, yeah, I don't change colour in the when I go on holiday, which was really nice. Actually, for the first time in 4 years, actually had a proper holiday where I switched off, didn't look at the emails. It was really, really nice and exciting. Before I get going, there's a couple of things I want to talk to you a little bit about the Fold Line, because I very rarely talk about what is going on the Fold Line. In fact, I don't think I ever do, and I just thought I would. There's a couple of things that have changed which I thought might be useful for you guys to know. So a lot of people have asked about menswear patterns. When you use this sort of searchy bit on the website, we just bundled all the menswear in together, but we've now split that up so you can search by sort of tops and bottoms, and it's still quite basic, but I think enough so that you can actually find a lot quicker what you're looking for. The other thing we have done is the sizing. So we have, because we got a lot of questions from people from America asking whether they were UK sizes, from the UK asking if they were American sizes, and Europe asking what are these sizes. So we've changed it on the site so you can actually, when you select the size, if you want to look via size, which you can do, it now shows up with UK 4, US 0, EU 30, so you can really easily see what you're looking for, and also it means it will pull up more patterns that you might not have seen before. So I hope that is useful for everyone. Right, I'm going to get cracking. So the first thing, I usually start talking about a fabric and then some pattern designers that you might not have heard of. I actually don't have any fabric because I went away on holiday. There were no fabric shops where I went in. I was in the south of France, couldn't find any. So I'm just going to talk to you about two designers that are new on our site and kind of small designers that you might not have heard of. I always think it's really nice to kind of share the love. So the first designer we have got is Serena Patterns. So she is based in Costa Rica. She specialises in swimwear patterns, which I thought was really obviously a great time of year for us in the UK as it's the summer. But so she's got six patterns, all really interesting, and all of them quite different actually for a swimwear pattern. So I think you guys will like them. So I'll have some pictures up so you can see them, and there'll be a link down below. I will say this now because I always forget. There are links to everything I talk about down below so you can go and find what you're looking for. Yes, so that's our first one. The second pattern designer I've got is called, oh, I've lost them. Oh yeah, Muse Patterns. So she is Kat is based in New Zealand, which I always love because it's really exciting to have pattern designers from all over the world. And she does really good, I think all of her patterns have a bit of a vintage kind of feel to them. Really nice basics with a sort of kind of vintage twist. Quite interesting pieces. There's a really lovely, which I know if you do love wearing lots of vintage dresses, the Jenna cardigan that she's done, it's like a cropped cardi that looks fantastic over vintage dresses, and there aren't that many cropped cardigan patterns, so I thought that would be useful for lots of people who like that sort of thing. Actually, to be honest, even just wearing a cardigan over a dress, it's quite hard to find nice patterns, like cropped ones. So yeah, she's got about sort of 12-15 patterns, and I thought you guys would like them. So that is our two designers. Next up, I'm going to talk to you about a company that we are working with at the moment called Quality Woven Labels in New York, and they are a company that create, well, the clue is in the name, they create sewing labels to go in the back of clothing, and they have done this on, I think their core business to start off with was doing it for small run designers, and there's also realised that there's quite a lot of us that like to have labels in the back of our Me Made garments. So yeah, they sent us, it's so sweet, they sent us some labels with the fold line on, and I just wanted to show you. I mean, this is, can you see? Oh, is it gonna work? I hope you can see that. I think if I put my hand behind it, that's what all the cool YouTubers do. Yeah, so they sent us some labels, and the nice thing about them is actually they do small runs of labels, so they do 25 labels, which is great really, because I found when I've looked, I was thinking about getting some done before, and I had a look, and it ended up being, you couldn't get like, you don't really want more than 25, but I was looking and I could only order like 50, and I was like, that's a bit of a waste. So yeah, I think they're really great. Although based in America, although based in America, they do ship over here, and also because they're so little, they're really easy and the postage isn't too much. They have also offered you guys a discount, so they've offered 15% off your order, and I will pop the code as well down below, so if you want to go and have a look at them. So they're definitely worth checking out. Next up I've got to talk to you about is, a book. I haven't done a book for ages. So this got sent to me. We get emails quite a bit about books, and to be honest, I generally say no to most of them, but this one came up and I thought would be worth getting, and I popped it in my suitcase before I went on holiday, and I read it away, and I really loved it. So it's called Mend and Patch, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce Kirsten. I'm not going to pronounce her surname, I'll get it so wrong. So it's a kind of, the idea, mend and patch, so don't throw away your clothes. Perfect for us, handmade wardrobes, we all know how to sew. There's a lot of stuff in here that's quite basic, like how to put a button on, which obviously for most of us, how to sew a button on for most of us is not we know how to do that already. But there's really lovely, the photography in it is beautiful. So there's a whole section on just to give you an idea of the kind of pictures inside the book, really inspirational. There's a whole bit on the photography is really, really beautiful. It's a really nice read. There's also a section at the back on how to mend knit fabrics, kind of, and proper knit as well. So kind of your jumpers, which I actually found really useful because I realised, having read it, that I have been darning all my jumpers incorrectly. But she also kind of touches on that Japanese style of mending where where it's shown so you can see it and it becomes part of the garment. It's just a really lovely book. It'd be perfect for like a gift for a sewing friend, or if you've got a birthday coming up and you'd like to treat yourself to another book. She's actually done another book called Indigo, which you can see there with her little dyed hands. And yeah, I just thought this was really nice, and if you feel like you want to treat yourself to something, I think this would definitely be worth it. Next up, I've got to talk about, we've done this really cool, fun collaboration, and I just was going to talk to you a little bit about it. So Hayley Jane, if you haven't come across her, is a sewing subscription box, and every month you can sign up just for 1 month, or you can sign up to get something delivered each month, and there are different tiers of boxes that you can have. But anyway, we are collaborating with her, and we are kind of curating the box for next month, which has been really interesting. I think because obviously our businesses are totally different, it's just been really nice learning about how it all works. So we've helped pick the fabric, we've picked the pattern, we've done this really nice collaboration with a illustrator to get something specially made just for that month's box. It's been really, really interesting, and I've really enjoyed, like, you know, we picked a fabric and then they didn't have enough, and you know, it's been quite a process, but it's been really, really interesting. I'll pop a link. I think there are still a few days to sign up to get our curated box if you fancy it. Yeah, I'll pop a link down below to that. Next up, I've got a really nice community challenge, which I think loads of you guys will really want to get involved with. It's run by two women. The first one is the Polka Dot Palace on Instagram, and also the Zipperfoot, who is Emma. And I think they did it last year. I'll pop a link so that you can read like the full scoop, but the idea is that you go through your stash, you pull out a pattern that you own, hasn't been cut, but you're probably not going to use. You post it on your grid on Instagram, and with your conditions, you know, if you're prepared to send it to Australia, and then whoever says me gets it first. So for me, I'm really into this because there's a competitive edge to it, which I'm down with. It's a little bit like on eBay where you get outbid and you just keep going. But it also means that you're not, you know, it saves us from buying things that we don't need, and it's really nice to kind of recycle sewing patterns. So that starts in, I should have, Saturday the 1st of June. Is that? Oh, it's already started. And closing 13th of July. Sorry, I thought it said the 1st of July. So you've still got a couple of weeks to do it, but it looks really fun. I actually haven't seen it pop up, but there's a hashtag that you can go and look at, and it's definitely worth getting involved with. It would be really nice to kind of share some pattern love and swap things around a bit. Right, next up, so I haven't got loads of things I listen to. I've got a couple of things. But the one that I really want to talk to you about is a book, but I listened to it on Audible on my holiday, and it is one of the best things I've listened to in such a long time. And I have an Audible subscription where I get 2 books a month, and this one just blew me away. So it's called The Salt Path by Raina Wynn. It's a true story, and the outline of the book is that her and her husband become homeless at age 50 from a bad investment that they made. They lost their house, they lost everything, and they decide to walk the coast path in Devon and Cornwall. It is so wonderful. I think for me, because I'm originally from the West Country, so it had an extra like special little bit of my heart, but the description of the countryside and the nature is completely beautiful. The struggle that they go through, the concept of homelessness as well, which I found really interesting, that really it could happen to anyone. It just takes one thing to go wrong, sometimes just one thing in people's lives for them to end up homeless. But the book is really inspiring, and I think we should all walk the Southwest Coast Path together. All of us, we should just go on a pilgrimage down there. Although I don't think I'd like to be in a tent that much. But anyway, if you are going on holiday, this is the book that you want to take with you. It is just so wonderful. I really, really would recommend it. Next up, I think I've spoken about this podcast before, but there's a particular episode I wanted to talk about because it's really, really, to me, I found really fascinating. So it's The Untold, and if you haven't come across this before, it's a BBC series. You can get it on iTunes, and they go and follow people at a point in their life where something dramatic or some change, they're going through some big change in their life. And
I mean, if you haven't listened to them, I would really recommend it. I absolutely love it, especially if you're British, because it's slices of little half-an-hour slices of British life that you will never have come across before. All of them I find completely fascinating. It's one of my favourite things to listen to. But the one I wanted to talk about was A Trip to Death Row, so I'll pop a link in the bio, and it's about a daughter's quest to go and meet an inmate on death row who her father was pen pal with, and it's a really sad story. And there's, you know, I'm sure a lot of you, you know, we all have, as we all know, family is not simple, is it? It's a complicated beast. I think, I've got a very complicated setup with my family, so I found it, you know, whenever I hear these sort of stories, I find them really interesting. But I would definitely recommend it. It's a really, really interesting one. And to end on a sort of light note, this podcast, I can't remember if I've mentioned it before, but I was listening to it on holiday and I actually had to stop because my boyfriend kept saying that I was laughing too loudly out loud on the beach on my own, and I looked like a nutter. So this is called Joan and Jerrica. It is completely and utterly wonderful. It's two comedians. I think it's all improvised. I think it feels like it's improvised. But the premise is that they are like agony aunts, and people write in with questions and they answer and give them advice, and that is completely hilarious. It's so funny. They end up sort of giving really, they're quite sexist. They give really bad advice, and the whole thing is just really funny. Like when I first listened to it, they're so good. When I first listened to it, I actually thought they were real. I thought it was real, and then I had to go in and check. But you should totally listen to it if you're like feeling like you need a bit of fun in your life. It's a bit if anyone used to watch, it's a bit Smack the Pony kind of. If you liked that, if you watched that and like that, I think you'll like this. Right, that is it from me. I hope you have got a lovely weekend ahead of you, and the sun is shining. It is today, but who knows by the weekend. And we will, be back with another video very soon. Bye!